come, sir? Good morning, ma'am. Good morning, sir.
That's it. Suresh,
Yes, sir.
how are you?
I'm doing good, sir.
So you're a mechanical engineer.
Yes, sir.
UPSC क्यों ज्वाइन करना चाहते
So there are 2-3 reasons. First, civil services offers certain diversity, and it is also a certain way to contribute to society. At the same time, it gives you a decent amount of salary to to sustain your livelihood.
तो ऐसी कौन सी 3 क्वालिटीज हैं जिसके लिए अगर हमें रिकमेंड करना आपको यूपीएससी को तुम रिकमेंड करना?
2 things, sir. First, that I have a professional degree in disaster management, and as a district magistrate or as a civil servant, I have to work on field of disaster management. Second, the region I come from, that rural Nagpur, and then I have got exposure to live in city as well. So that gives a diversity to my perspective and understanding of society. So which will of course enhance my work in the society.
आपकी हॉबी सिंगिंग हिंदी एंड मराठी सॉन्ग.
Yes, sir.
फेवरेट सिंगर हिंदी?
As of now, Arjit Singh.
अरिजीत सिंह. और ओल्ड सॉन्ग्स में?
Kishore Kumar.
किशोर. कोई गाना गा दोगे हमारे?
Sure, sir.
कौन सा फेवरेट है?
So may I sing ghazal?
गजल किशोर कुमार ने कौन सी गाई?
नहीं, if you
किशोर कुमार का कोई गाना याद है?
हाँ.
कौन सा?
आने वाला पल जाने वाला है, आने वाला पल जाने वाला है, हो सके तो इसमें जिंदगी बिता दो, पल जो ये जाने वाला है. आने वाला पल जाने वाला है.
इस गाने को थ्योरी ऑफ रिलेटिविटी से कैसे जोड़ सकते हो? गाने के बोले आने वाला पल
Yes.
जाने वाला है.
So, sir, as theory of relativity says that everything is relative, and probably the time, suppose that I am in a harsh situation. So for me, time becomes slow. As someone who is happy, for that fellow, time becomes fast. And it is difficult to cut your time in pain, and it is quite easy, joyful to spend your time in happiness. So ultimately, both are going to go. And as they say, nothing is going to last, nothing is permanent, only change is permanent. So even this will go.
और
That's all.
आपकी हॉबी है मेडिटेशन.
Yes, sir.
इस गाने को लॉ ऑफ कर्मा से कैसे जोड़ सकते हो?
Sir, whatever I'm doing, so in this moment is actually in continuing with the past moment, at the same time in continuing with the moment which is going to come. So there is no tomorrow which is going to come. Tomorrow will always come as today, and whatever I'm doing in today, that will become tomorrow. So
अगर इसमें कहा जा रहा है कि हो सके तो इसमें जिंदगी बिता दो, what
So-
kind of meditation is this?
mindfulness, sir. So if
Mindfulness.
I'm doing something, I have to be in that moment totally. So I have to do things in totality. I should be not distracted if I'm doing X task and I'm distracted by Y task. So I should be there in present to be in the moment.
Good.
हाय, क्या आप भी आईएएस की तैयारी करना चाहते हैं? क्या आप पीसीएस की तैयारी करना चाहते हैं? बहुत दिनों से आप स्ट्रगल कर रहे हैं, लेकिन इसके बावजूद भी आपको सफलता नहीं मिली। भागदौड़ करने के बावजूद भी आपको कोई सॉल्यूशन नहीं मिल रहा। सिर्फ आपका टेंशन बढ़ रहा है, आपका पेशेंस जवाब दे रहा है। इसी टेंशन को दूर करने और आपकी हर एक समस्या का समाधान लेकर आए हम, यानी ओजांक गुरुकुल कैंपस। यहाँ हम आपको सिखाएंगे आईएएस और पीसीएस जैसे एग्जाम की तैयारी कैसे आसान तरीके से की जाती है, कैसे डिसिप्लिन फॉलो किया जाता है, कैसे अनुशासन रखा जाता है। अगर आप भी चाहते हैं हम आईएएस और पीसीएस बने और अपनी जिंदगी के सारे सपने पूरे करें, तो अभी ज्वाइन करें ओजांग गुरुकुल कैंपस। बिकॉज when we support the word selfless, the whole universe will support you endlessly.
सुरेश, आपने टेस्ट से किया है.
Yes, ma'am.
So risk and hazard,
Yes.
how would you differentiate?
Ma'am, hazards are events which have potential to harm life or infrastructure or environment, and risk are the probability that hazard will turn into a disaster. Not every hazard is a disaster. Hazard will turn into disaster only when it is exposed to vulnerable population, and the probability that it will lead into hazard, that is something we call risk.
Suppose you you get selected and
Yes.
you become the district magistrate. You are posted in a district. It's a proper Hindu-dominated population which has a huge temple, tourism भी है वहाँ पे, and large population and old city है. Okay. So as the DM, आप क्या क्या disaster को ध्यान में रखते हो, hazard, risk, hazard and disaster, तीनों को ध्यान में रखते हुए, what will be your areas of concern in that particular city?
Ma'am, I have to, a primary thing which I would be doing would be HRVC analysis, that is hazard, risk, vulnerability, and capacity analysis. So here I'll check what are the natural and man-made hazards which are there. Since you have mentioned that the community is majorly dominated by one religious group, so I'll also check if there is communal harmony or there have been a history of communal disharmony in this, since even community conflicts are considered as disasters. Then I'll see which are the vulnerable populations which are there, and then I'll see what are the capacity building measures I can take, and even if existing capacities are there, I'll try to utilize them to integrate developmental policies within disaster management.
So your course said mitigation, disaster mitigation, I think.
Yes.
Okay. What can you do to mitigate disasters?
Ma'am, it depends on each disaster separately. So primary thing in the cycle of disaster management, once a response and rescue is done, then I have to make sure that long-term recovery is done. To ensure long-term recovery, I have to make certain infrastructural structure which I have to maintain. I have to maintain that there is social inclusion of certain vulnerable groups within society. So if there is a disaster of earthquake, my primary focus would be on infrastructure, because that is something which is hampered in earthquake majorly. If it is about communal harmony, then I'll go for the communication between two groups and having interaction with religious leaders and building harmony.
Okay, Suresh, what do you mean by geopolitics?
Ma'am, geopolitics is politics among nations, specifically located in a geographical arena. To give an example, recently Indo-Pacific is.
Do you think there can be any other issues between two nations, two states, without geography?
And certainly geography is one of the factors, but there can be other factors which are dominating, like economics in present time.
Isn't economics also related to geography?
Yes, it is. But my point of my argument is that it varies. The degree of economic interest are overpowering the geographical interest, or whether
if
it
I
is.
say a statement that history would not have taken place if geography was not there, can you support it? You would agree with it, or you would disapprove it? What would you say?
I would
My
approve.
statement is history would not have occurred if there was no geography.
I would approve this statement, ma'am.
So the entire history, entire geopolitics is largely geography based.
Not completely, but yes, major.
But why? What are the points you would say not completely? What are the points where you disagree?
Ma'am, geographical locations, let's say in today's scenario, the boundaries, the borders among nations, and the dispute arising out of boundary disputes are major portion of conflict between nations. But at the same time, we are economically so integrated with global supply chain, and in globalized borderless world, it is also important for nations to take care of their national interests, particularly pertaining to economic interests. So USA and China are in tussle majorly because of economic interest and less because of geography. China and India are majorly in tussle with our border dispute, which China is not in favor of settling it, rather than our economic interests majorly. Although economic factor is also a part of it.
How would you differentiate between a state and a nation? You just said two nations.
Yes.
Is it the two nations who fight, or is it two states who fight?
Sorry, ma'am, I'm unable to make an argument on that.
Sorry?
I'm unable to make an argument on that.
Thank you.
Can you spell Ahmedabad for me?
AHMADABAD.
Is it correct? It is wrong. You were member of NGO Oscar.
Yes.
What was it?
So Oscar is Organization for Sickle Cell Awareness and Research.
What?
Sickle Cell Awareness and Research.
Okay. So tell me more about it. What does this organization do? What was your role in that?
So I'm not a full-time member of this organization, a part-time one. This organization was started in 2004 by Dr. Deepak Ganbir and Dr. Barkha Tilpude. So since I come from Nagpur region, the central Indian part is majorly affected by sickle cell disease. The prominence is in the central India. And the proportion of sickle cell disease is major in scheduled caste and scheduled tribe. So Oscar tries to do counseling, tries to tell people, and since it is an inheritable disease, so if the young adults are educated and made aware about the possibility and probability of offspring being a sickle cell disease patient, so that can be prevented. So by that, Oscar is trying to reach out to families where there is already a sickle cell patient. So there is a condition called as crisis in sickle cell patient, which needs hospitalization. So sometimes what happens if a family is not aware of what is crisis, they will try to treat a patient with, let's say, if patient is having pain in arm, so they'll consider it as muscular pain and they will apply some lotion or that. But in case of crisis, it is urgently required that patient is shifted to ICU or medication is given.
Have you shifted any patient shift to ICU?
Not me personally,
What
but
was your role in the NGO?
my role is properly of counseling the families. Since I'm not a doctor, medical professional, so my major role is to tell people how sickle cell can be prevented in future generation. May I elaborate on that, sir?
Yes.
So if both are parents, so there are two types sickle cell, SS and AS. So if there are
Tell me more about your work. You have counseled how many, like approximately how many parents, how many have taken your advice and admitted their children or whatever?
So around 8 people.
You have counseled around 8 people.
Yes. By 8 people, I mean the family of patients. There were 2 patients. One is Swapnil and one was Tanushri. So the both were patient, that is SS pattern sickle cell patient. So we had to tell the family that just in case if there is a pain or even if the patient is suffering from pneumonia, you must not take it lightly, and you make sure that after a certain degree of pain, if patient is not feeling well, so it's not advisable to go to local doctor and just take local treatment.
What are the challenges you face while you are telling them that you should go to a doctor, and what is the resistance which is coming from their side? Major resistance which is coming from their side. Why are they not willing to go?
So primarily the resistance comes from the economic point of view. Since admitting a patient into hospital, that would cost some money in private hospital particularly. So although parents want that their children should be get hospitalized, but they will wait if the issue get resolved locally from a local doctor, and they will wait for some time. But then it becomes difficult to differentiate between crisis and the normal pain, which can be resolved at home with some lotion or some medication. So that is the primary hesitation. Second, people do not go for a test called electrophoresis, which tells you that the patient is suffering from sickle cell. So there is kind of hesitancy and a taboo that my child is suffering.
Why this disease is prevalent in scheduled caste and scheduled tribes mainly?
So there is, I'm not sure about it, but there is theory of the location of tribes in jungle area, which led to your red blood cell to deform in certain way, to mutate in certain way, that prevented them to suffer from malaria. So sickle cell patient does not get malaria as such, majority of them, since the Plasmodium vivax is not able to survive in the sickled blood.
Is there any government program which is there to help people who are suffering from sickle cell?
Yes. We have recently launched Sickle Cell Abhiyan, and under which we are trying
Which
to.
ministry has launched it?
Ministry of Health. and it was launched from Madhya Pradesh by Prime Minister Modi, and we are aiming to eliminate sickle cell by 2047. As far as Maharashtra is concerned, Maharashtra government supports with 1,000 rupees per month
Okay.
and
Thank you.
folic acid tablets.
You are from Nagpur, right?
Yes,
Your mother is from Chandrapur.
yes.
What is the distance between Nagpur and Chandrapur?
I do not know exactly, sir. I can tell time required to travel,
Okay. What is the time required to travel?
around 3 hours
By
by bus.
what is the average speed of bus in your region? Approximately
Around 50.
50. So tell me the distance.
– 150 kilometers.
Okay. So Chandrapur is on the confluence of which two rivers?
Sorry, sir, I'm not aware about that.
You're not aware. You have your disaster management in masters, right?
Yes.
Which disaster is taking most lives in India today?
Sir, I cannot support my argument with quantitative data.
You don't know.
I can tell about the frequency. Like
Hmm.
cyclones are something which are occurring more, but as far as life taking is concerned, earthquakes are something which takes more lives.
Okay. Why Nagpur oranges are so famous? What is so special about them?
So the type of Nagpur oranges is mandarin, which have its unique taste, and that's why people prefer it over kinos and other types of oranges.
Okay. My last question. See, you have worked as a counselor in NGO.
Yes.
So, what will you say to a family who has lost his home in a disaster?
My argument will be, sir, NGOs and state agency would be helping them sooner. So since it's time of crisis, so we all are together, and we will. I will encourage them to have a resilient mindset in such scenario.
Thank you.
Suresh, who is a philosopher king?
Philosopher king is idea given by Plato. Is someone who has learned philosophy and who does not wish to rule, but he is ruling the society. And since he is full of knowledge, so he is someone who will rule with justice.
Okay, what is justice for Plato?
For Plato, justice is I'm unable to recall, ma'am.
Who is called as philosopher king in modern India?
In modern India, I'm unable.
Ambedkar and Gandhi had a literary dialogue with one another on the question of caste.
Yes.
Do you know the name of that literary work?
Pune Pact. Sorry, ma'am.
Annihilation of Caste. Have you heard of this?
Yes, yes.
Gandhi responded to that. What was the name of Gandhi's work? He was in jail when he wrote that.
I'm not aware, ma'am.
What is the difference between their views on caste?
Dr. Ambedkar was of the opinion that caste should be annihilated in totality, and that's why he was of the opinion that in Annihilation of Caste, he argues that one should put dynamite on Vedas and religious texts. On the other hand,
But why?
that's the only way to finish caste. That's what Ambedkar thought of. Gandhiji believed that the birth of every individual within specific varna is for some purpose, and although we can be open to all views and perspective, but still we should not let our root go and perform our dharma according to varna.
So Gandhiji was in support of the caste system, you're saying?
Gandhiji was against untouchability and evils of caste system, and he was also against caste system, but he was a supporter of varna system.
Okay. Can you tell me one similarity and one difference between Karl Marx and Gandhiji?
One similarity is, ma'am, both talked about stateless society, and one difference is the method of Karl Marx was bloody revolution, and for Gandhiji it was ahimsa and satya.
Okay. How do you think poetry is going to help you in your administration? You like writing poetry.
Yes.
How can it help you in your administration?
Ma'am, poetry gives me that liberty to pen down my emotions. So as an administrator or as a civil servant, I'll be going through many stressful situations, and probably I won't get a chance to vent out my feelings to many of my friends or colleagues. So in that case, to have a mental stability or mental peace, I can write and I can feel blissful.
Okay. Can
And
you sing that ghazal that you were interested in singing?
sure, ma'am. It is by Mehndi Hasan साहब. जिंदगी में तो सभी प्यार किया करते हैं, मैं तो मर कर भी मेरी जान तुझे चाहूँगा. जिंदगी में तो सभी प्यार किया करते हैं.
Thank you.
मेहदी हसन साहब किसी घराने से ताल्लुक रखते थे?
Most probably yes, sir, but I'm not aware of the gharana.
Suresh, the last question.
Yes, sir.
You have done disaster management. Let's say a plane crashed on the border of US and Canada, and so where will you bury the survivors?
Sir, in disaster management, we learned a concept called sense of place. So where every individual has a feeling of getting buried into their motherland. So now it depends. I'll try to understand the nationality of each individual, and according to that, we will shift the corpus to particular nation, and then we will bury.
You have to bury the survivors.
Survive the question.
Extremely sorry.
Yeah, it's fine. Thank you.
फीडबैक टाइम सुरेश.
Yes, sir.
बाकी चीजें बहुत अच्छी रही. थोड़ा सा ऐसा लगा तुमने बहुत अच्छी प्रिपरेशन कर रखी है, इसलिए तुम जल्दी में थे थोड़ा सा. जैसे मैंने तुमसे कहा कि सबसे फेवरेट सॉन्ग कौन सा है, तुमने गाना शुरू कर दिया.
हाँ.
तुमने मुझे बताया भी नहीं कि तुम्हारा फेवरेट सॉन्ग कौन सा है, क्यों है.
ऐसा कोई सॉन्ग है नहीं actually.
जैसे आपने कहा कि किशोर कुमार का, आपने तुरंत सोचो, आपने मेरे से
पूछा.
परमिशन भी नहीं ली.
Yes.
थोड़ा हेड मूवमेंट ज्यादा हो रहा है, उसको
अच्छा.
थोड़ा सा हमें संभालना है.
So was my neck tilted? It is general
It's moving, is
perception that
taking
my
support
neck is
from
like
your
this.
body.
When I walk, it's like this. I don't know.
नेक्स्ट वन इज, दो बार मैंने देखा फेस एक्सप्रेशन तुम्हारे. जैसे अभी सर के क्वेश्चन, इससे पहले भी हुआ कि आपने कोई गलती कर दी, जैसे आप डिस्टेंस कैलकुलेट नहीं कर पाए, सडनली यू मेक ई टाइप फेस.
अच्छा.
सो ये बता रहा है कि थोड़ा सा चीजें लूज हो गई. अगर आपकी प्लानिंग से चीजें नहीं चल रही हैं तो सडनली आप अपने फ्रेम से बाहर आ जा रहे हो. ठीक है,
I was
ये
getting
ध्यान रखना.
informal, I guess. I was getting informal.
आप ऐसे आपने फेस बनाया इंटरव्यू बैठ के सामने, इस तरह से आंखें को मीचना, चेहरे को मोड़ना, ये बहुत अच्छी चीज नहीं है. क्योंकि वो हमने पकड़ लिया कि आप एक फ्रेम के अंदर थे, आपने बहुत अच्छी प्रिपरेशन की है, सडनली कुछ ऐसा हुआ कि आपके रिएक्शन जो है वो चाइल्डिश हो गए यहाँ पे. ठीक है, बाकी सब ठीक है मैम.
Yeah, I would say I'm impressed with your interview. आप क्वेश्चंस को बहुत अच्छे से डिफेंड करते हैं, टैकल बहुत अच्छे से कर लेते हैं. जैसे सर का जो क्वेश्चन था मेडिटेशन, कर्मा और इस सब पे, it was very apt and very nice. So overall the interview was very good. I would just say that.
Ma'am, I want to make that clarification that I haven't revised my optional yet.
Yes.
So that nation and state is something basic I should know.
Yeah,
Must-
it's very
in that
important.
philosophical king, I
Because
should.
देखो कोई और जना इंटरचेंजेबली यूज करे वर्ड्स,
हाँ.
स्टेट एंड नेशन, तो फिर भी एक बार चलना तो नहीं चाहिए, फिर भी एक बार चल जाएगा. बट पॉल
Politics.
साइंस का स्टूडेंट होके या आईआर का स्टूडेंट होके आप अगर स्टेट और नेशन को इंटरचेंजेबली यूज करोगे, जस्ट नॉट टेकन.
I will look into that.
So otherwise you are absolutely concise, काम है, composed है, आंसर अच्छा दे रहे हैं, क्वेश्चन को टैकल बहुत अच्छे से कर रहे हैं, डॉज नहीं हो रहे हैं. So very nice. I wish you all the best. I'm very hopeful that you will make very good rank.
नॉलेज आपको है, जो एनजीओ वाले क्वेश्चंस थे यू टैकल्ड इट नाइसली. और थोड़ा चंद्रपुर और इन सब पे भी काम कर लो, है ना. रीड अबाउट देम.
And Chandrapur particularly, I'm sorry, Chandrapur बहुत important region है. you know, historically, literary भी. उस पे novels हैं, कौन सा है वो, I'm forgetting particular, वो चंद्रपुर पे ही A.M. Foster का ही है. Okay, so आप चंद्रपुर पे थोड़ा सा ज़्यादा पढ़ो आप.
Since I come from Nagpur district, I studied from Nagpur.
नाम आ गया चंद्रपुर,
इसलिए अच्छा.
तो वो तो कोई भी जना पूछेगा उस पे चंद्रपुर.
Okay.
और चंद्रपुर I think किस तरफ पड़ा चंद्रपुर? Towards थोड़ा सा north में पड़ा.
This is Nagpur. Here is Chandrapur.
हाँ, so towards MP,
हाँ.
slightly towards MP.
MP के थोड़ा नीचे,
थोड़ा
ऊपर
सा
भंडारा आ जाता है.
हाँ, so भंडारा ये वाला जो रेंजेस है, इस पे भी पढ़ लेना. यहाँ पे डायनासोर नेस्ट्स मिले हैं, डायनासोर एग नेस्ट्स मिले हैं चंद्रपुर. Okay, so Chandrapur is very significant, as I said, geographically, literally, and ये जो Paleozoic era है. Okay, तो उसको चंद्रपुर को आप अच्छे से पढ़ो.
बाकी जो प्रेजेंस ऑफ माइंड जैसे कैलकुलेट करना है
तो
डिस्टेंस,
बहुत टाइम लगाया आपने. मेरे जैसा नॉन
I got-
साइंस नॉन
I-
मैथ्स पर्सन
I got-
कैलकुलेट कर लिया.
I got थोड़ा सा blank.
You know, मैंने कैलकुलेट कर लिया. मुझे लगा
तो
नहीं,
नर्वस
शायद
नहीं होना है.
time क्यों
आप
लग गया
एकदम नर्वस होने की निशानी है ये, जो आउट ऑफ, जो सर ने बोला आउट ऑफ द बॉक्स अगर कुछ जा रहा है तो यू बिकम नर्वस. और तो
This is my first mock, so probably
कोई
first
बात
time
नहीं.
facing the board.
अहमदाबाद की स्पेलिंग डेफ
हाँ,
में भी
इसमें
गलत है.
एंड अगर कहीं आए आपने इसमें डूइंग मेडिटेशन लिखा है. डूइंग मेडिटेशन कुछ नहीं होता ना. मेडिटेशन,
Meditation is a verb in itself.
it's a verb in itself. But if I say I like doing running, it's like that. So इसके लिए रेडी रहना. हो सकता है कभी क्वेश्चन जैसे अहमदाबाद का सर ने आपसे स्पेलिंग पूछ लिया, क्योंकि इसमें आपने अहमदाबाद लिखा, जैसे आप बोलते होंगे वैसे आपने अहमदाबाद लिखा हुआ है. स्पेलिंग गलत है आपके फॉर्म में. ओके, सो ऐसे ही डूइंग मेडिटेशन लिखा हुआ है. सो उस पे कॉट हो सकता है आप, मतलब यू कैन बी कॉट ऑन दैट.
You need to brush up your optional. I think
Yes.
that you realized. You sing beautifully. So if they ask you to sing, I think you will score well.
I
But
hope
if
they
that
ask.
doesn't happen, then please brush up your optional. But be prepared for that also. Otherwise, your interview was well, and you have a pleasing personality. So I hope you make it. All the best.
ऑल द बेस्ट.
Thank you, sir.
हाय, क्या आप भी आईएएस की तैयारी करना चाहते हैं? क्या आप पीसीएस की तैयारी करना चाहते हैं? बहुत दिनों से आप स्ट्रगल कर रहे हैं, लेकिन इसके बावजूद भी आपको सफलता नहीं मिली. भागदौड़ करने के बावजूद भी आपको कोई सॉल्यूशन नहीं मिल रहा. सिर्फ आपका टेंशन बढ़ रहा है, आपका पेशेंस जवाब दे रहा है. इसी टेंशन को दूर करने और आपकी हर एक समस्या का समाधान लेकर आए हम, यानी ओजांग गुरुकुल कैंपस. यहां हम आपको सिखाएंगे आईएएस और पीसीएस जैसे एग्जाम की तैयारी कैसे आसान तरीके से की जाती है, कैसे डिसिप्लिन फॉलो किया जाता है, कैसे अनुशासन रखा जाता है. अगर आप भी चाहते हैं हम आईएएस और पीसीएस बने और अपनी जिंदगी के सारे सपने पूरे करें, तो अभी ज्वाइन करें ओजांग गुरुकुल कैंपस. बिकॉज when we support the word selfless, the whole universe will support you endlessly.